Hello, pilots of the internet. Welcome to Foldable Flight. My name is Kyle, and in this video I want to do two things. The first thing I'm going to do is talk very briefly about my Kickstarter campaign, and then the second thing I'm going to do is teach you how to fold this awesome paper airplane that boomerangs. It can be a stunt plane, it can be a regular glider. Honestly, Apollo is the most versatile paper airplane that I have posted to my channel. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys, but put up with me for just a second. I want to talk about the Kickstarter campaign. So as you know, I'm running a campaign to try to fund a book project that I've been working on for a long time. It's a paper airplane book that contains instructions to 15 amazing paper airplanes, links to video tutorials for those planes, and illustrated folding papers for those planes. Here's the deal. I'm running through Wednesday of next week a promotion where if you back the Kickstarter campaign for $10 or more, I'm literally going to give you $10 in free bonus content. So you may know that on my web store I have digital downloads to team template packs. If you back my project on Kickstarter for $10 or more, I'm literally going to give you free the digital downloads for all of those team template packs, so you can print off and fold papers that make your planes look like that rather than just the plain white sheets of paper. So honestly, an awesome opportunity. If you think you want the book at all, this is your best chance to act and get it, because you're going to get literally $10 of extra content just for pledging $10. And that's in addition to the rewards you'll get from the campaign. $10 will get you a digital copy of the book. $15 will get you a printed copy of the book. $20 will get you a printed copy with extra folding papers beyond what are already available in the book. So, like I said, if you think you want the book at all, now is the best time to get it. And now, let's talk about Apollo. Like I said, it boomerangs. It can just be a regular stunt plane, and it can be a regular glider, all with just some slight modifications. And I'll tell you exactly how to achieve those flight characteristics at the end of the video. So, I'll show you this plane in flight, and then I'll teach you how to fold it. All you will need in order to fold Apollo is an 8.5 by 11-inch sheet of paper, and as we so often do, we're just going to begin by folding this right edge to the left edge. And as always, symmetry is very important here, because as you progress, we're going to use lines like this one as a reference, and if you get this fold wrong, then all of your future folds will also be wrong. Okay, and then while we have it folded in half like this, here's my folded edge and here's my raw edge. I'm going to fold this edge here to this edge, but I'm not actually going to crease all the way across the paper. I'm just going to create what's called a pinch crease here on this side. And I'm just going to pinch it like that, and that just gives me a reference for our next fold. And I'll flip it over, and I'm going to make a reference on this side as well, folding the raw edge to that folded edge, and creating a pinch crease like so. And now, here's the trick. We want to leave our paper folded still, and we're going to use this folded edge, and we're going to begin pulling, and what we want to do is we want to create a crease that goes right from this point here down to this reference we just made. So the trick is, what I was saying is you kind of pull and you swivel this until you can see it kind of catches in that top corner and it can't open any further. And I'm just going to kind of tack that point a little bit with my finger and then begin swinging this back edge until I find that reference point that I made. And I'm going to kind of tack that also, and then I just make sure that I've got the paper pulled in such a way that it's going through both of those points, and then I want to make a crease that goes all the way from point to point. Okay, and then I'll flip it over, and I can fold this side to match, basically by lining this corner up with this corner, and this corner up with this corner. So sorry, that was probably out of your frame. This corner to this corner, and this corner to this corner. And I know these folds are a little bit difficult. This plane is a little bit difficult, but it is well worth it if you can make it through this folding sequence. Okay, so we're opening it back up to look like this, and you can see our center fold is a valley crease, and our diagonal folds here are mountain creases. That's exactly what we want, because now here is an especially tricky step. We're going to basically gather this crease up in our fingers, and we want to land this crease on our center crease all the way along its length. So that's going to require some real precision. You can see I'm looking for that center crease, and I'm trying to land this edge right on top of it, not just at one point, but all the way along the crease. And it especially gets a little bit tricky as you get towards this point, not to mess up the paper because you're working with very small margins there. And once I've kind of got it, I've got this landed, I'm going to actually solidify my crease after flipping it over right here, like so. And that wasn't completely perfect, but it's close. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side, where I'm grabbing this crease and just rolling the paper so that I can land that crease on the center crease again. And hopefully, whether you can accomplish that or not, hopefully you at least understand what's going on. And I recognize that that is a difficult fold for sure. So your plane should look like this, and we're actually going to flip it back over. It looks like this on this side. And what we want to do next is we want to fold this top point here right down to this point here where these two angles kind of form a point at the bottom as well. And you may need to kind of work to roll the paper as you do that. You can see I'm placing a finger near the middle to help ease it. Otherwise, these thick layers, these multiple layers may want to bunch up. So I'm helping the paper kind of roll as I do this, and I want to land this point right there. Once I do that, I'll start at the middle and sweep out at the top to crease the top like so. And then I will actually open this back up once more. So yet another tricky step coming up. We basically want to fan open. I'm just going to do it very quickly to show you. We're going to fan open these bottom portions here. And to do that, we want the opening to stop right where this horizontal line intersects our center line. So I'm going to place a finger right there at that point. And I'm going to rotate this just for my own ease as I do it, but hopefully you can still see exactly what's happening. I'm placing a finger there as I force this section open. And basically I want to create a crease on this layer here that is running from here, and this back corner will kind of be the limiter of how far we can open that. So hopefully you can see exactly what I've done there. I've just swung this open as far as it will allow me to swing it, with this point here being one of our references and this point back here being the other. And you can see we've got this big bundle of paper now that doesn't want to lie flat, and basically while I make sure that this section here does lie flat, I'm going to force this all in one direction to lie flat like so. Okay, And with that, you're ready to do the other side in the same way. I'm just going to place a finger there and begin forcing this open. And I crease until it gets right to that corner. And then I've got this big bundle of paper that doesn't want to lie flat, so I'm just pushing it that way while I make sure that this section does stay flat, and creating a flattened portion of the plane like so. So this is how your plane should look at this point. And we're actually going to, now we have these flaps, just fold the flap in the other direction. Pull it right down like so. And do the same thing on this side. And now your plane should look like this. And we will fold, getting confused myself. We're going to fold this top portion, this top edge, in to the center crease like so. We're just making a little triangle like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Sorry for the background noise, got some cars driving by. Okay, now we're going to fold this point here to this point right here. So that's the top point to this point we've made with the horizontal crease on the center line. Should look like that. And now we can fold on this horizontal crease like so. And our plane should look like this. The next step is to take this outer edge here. You can see we've got this band on the top, and then we have the outer portion of that top edge, and that's where we want to start our fold. We're going to start a crease that goes right from this point here, where this band ends, down to this corner of the plane. So I'm pulling this whole section like so, increasing it so that it looks like this. And then I will go ahead, I'll open that up, and I'll do the same thing here on this side where I'm folding from this point to this corner right here. Okay, and we'll open that back up and we should look like this. Next step is to fold this outer edge here into the crease that we just made. And what we want to do is just leave a little gap, a slight gap that is going to allow these layers to close very nicely, because the next thing we want to do, you can see kind of the gap I've left there. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to fold that whole section in. So that's why you want to have that gap. Otherwise the layers can bunch up and get untidy if you don't leave that gap. So you can see as I fold that in, this here is overlapping what is a central pocket of our plane. And so if I just swing that under the pocket, I can lock all those layers together. So that's exactly what we want to do. And we'll do the same two steps on the other side. So we're going to fold this edge here to that diagonal crease right there. Again, you can see I've left just a little gap there between this crease and that edge of the paper. And now I'm going to swing in, and you can see again we're overlapping our central pocket, so I'm just going to tuck this in to that central pocket like so. And now we are essentially finished. You can see when we flip this over that the plane is done except for the winglets on each side of the plane. So what we want to do is we're going to fold winglets that are going to be parallel to this center crease. So we want to make sure they're parallel to that center crease. And what we're going to do in order to do that is just estimate. That's the best thing we can do. So I'll show you exactly how I fold them. And they're not very big either. They're about that size. And you can see this edge, this back edge here, as I pull it close, the back edge of the fin is not landing on the back edge of the wing because this angle here is not perpendicular to our center crease. So we want to make sure that if you want your fin to be parallel to the center crease, that you're not landing this edge on that edge. And you can see once you've made one of your fins, and again, this is about, the size of my fin is about 1/2 an inch, maybe just a little more than 1/2 an inch in from the corner. And so once you've made one of those, you can kind of just do an eye test and make your other one match. And you can actually measure if you feel the need to do that, but if you get it close, your plane's going to fly well. So there you go. Now, this is a finished Apollo, but let's talk about some things you can do to change its flight characteristics. As you saw earlier, this plane can boomerang back to you. It can be just a normal glider that kind of gets pinched like this and you throw it. And the thing is, just with some slight modifications, you can make this fly in a bunch of different ways. Like I said, a boomerang plane, a normal glider, a stunt plane, and that's one of the things that's so cool about it. So, the first thing is to consider is the angle of these vertical stabilizers. You can see if you have them straight up, this will encourage the plane to boomerang back to you in a tighter circle than if you fan them out slightly. Fanning them out reduces its stability, so it may become a little less predictable, but it will broaden the radius of its circle. So if it was, when you had it vertical like this, circling very tightly, then you fan it out like this, it will circle in a much broader manner. It may stop circling successfully if your plane is not perfectly trimmed if you do that though. The next thing, you can see we have these creases, these diagonal creases that kind of run under the center section of the plane. Well, if we kind of do this sort of thing, I don't even quite know what term to use for that, you can see our fuselage, our central section, stands up a lot more. Also, the bottom of the plane pokes down a lot more than if I were to, kind of try to flatten it. What that does is it's creating this wedge shape that is going to, again, tighten the circular angle of the plane. So it will boomerang back to you in a tighter circle in a more controlled manner if you do that. But it's going to decrease the efficiency of the plane in such a way that it won't fly as far or for as long if you do that. So if you want to make this plane glide better, have a better glide ratio, a faster flight speed, then you can kind of bend it down just slightly enough that this pocket at the bottom, where everything is locking together, hugs the plane more tightly, and that's going to increase the speed at which the plane can fly, the distance it can fly, and make the circle it flies in broader. So that's kind of the tips for boomeranging. Now, you have the whole other flight characteristic of the plane of just kind of operating like a normal glider. And in order to take advantage of that, you basically just fold it in half like a normal plane, and you're going to hold it just like this. And when you throw it, its wings are going to open up, and it's going to fly like a normal glider. And you can throw this thing really high into the air, and it glides for a long time because it reaches its peak like this, and then it opens up and glides at a great glide ratio. So again, this is an extremely versatile plane, and I'm happy to be sharing it with you guys. I hope you have enjoyed learning how to fold it, and I hope you enjoy flying it as well. Remember that there's that special offer going on for my Kickstarter campaign right now, so if you're interested in getting my book, now is probably the best time to get it because you're going to get all of those free team template packs as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.